Manchester United had one of the worst days in their history this season, conceding 7 goals without reply to their arch-rivals, Liverpool. But this game was somewhat of an outlier, as the Northwest Derby has historically been one of the most competitive fixtures in English football. Most of what we see from this rivalry occurs on the pitch, but it's events that took place off of it which played a large part in its beginning. The early 19th century was a time of significant reform in Europe and North America. New machines like the steam engine revolutionized mass production, transportation was reimagined, and the telegraph introduced a more efficient method of long-distance communication. 2 cities in particular grew rampantly during this period: Manchester and Liverpool. Manchester thrived as a leader in the textile industry, earning the nickname Cottonopolis. Liverpool, on the other hand, prospered as a port city. Its coastal location made it a hub of global trade and commerce, linking the British Empire to markets around the world. Both cities benefited from what the other offered and transported goods back and forth via the Bridgewater Canal, and Manchester and Liverpool were satisfied with this arrangement for a while. But then came 1894. 35 miles separated Manchester and Liverpool, which meant higher costs. And with the city growing exponentially, Manchester needed to find a way to reduce the cost and time involved in transporting goods and materials. So they built the Manchester Ship Canal. The city now no longer relied on Liverpool for its dock. Beyond the economy, this move quickly became a political symbol to the people of Manchester. It was so significant that both United and City feature ships on their crests. Liverpool was furious with the new canal since it would hurt their business, and this fresh tension between the 2 cities laid the foundation for England's greatest rivalry. Today, England is a dominant presence in professional football, but for much of the 19th century, its football clubs were seen as amateur. Players weren't paid and mostly had manual labor jobs. It wasn't until the late 1800s that today's giants began to emerge. Among those early clubs was Manchester United. The club was founded in 1878 under the name Newton Heath FC by a department of railway workers. Newton Heath competed at North Road against other railway teams for several years, before playing their first competitive match against the Blackburn Olympic Reserves in 1883, a game they lost 7-2. And while many understood this to be their first official match, greater recognition would come in 1885 when the FA began to recognize professional football clubs in England and established the Football League in 1888. Here is where the Northwest rivalry stepped onto the pitch. Liverpool FC was founded in 1892, just 4 years after league play began. They quickly became one of the top teams in England, going unbeaten in their first season to earn promotion to the First Division. And before World War I, both sides added 2 league titles to their trophy cabinets. Liverpool's presence in the top division became inevitable throughout the 1920s and 30s as they tucked away 3 more league titles. On the other hand, United suffered relegation on 3 separate occasions. Nevertheless, the tension between the cities themselves made for contentious matches. The rivalry attracted larger crowds than typical games, and disdain grew between the fan bases. But following World War II, both clubs' fortune appeared to switch. Liverpool suffered from inconsistency, bouncing around the league table season after season. They did claim a 5th league title in 1947, but were mediocre afterward, cementing themselves as a mid-table side before finally getting relegated in 1954. And with average players and poor facilities, promotion back to the First Division was a struggle. It took the introduction of Bill Shankly to put the club back on track. When you think about rebuilds today, teams like Arteta's Arsenal, Ferguson's United, or Guardiola's City may come to mind. But even these pale in comparison to Liverpool in the early 60s. Shankly was appointed manager of Liverpool in 1959 and quickly made his presence felt in the club by releasing the entire first-team squad. To anyone outside the club, this move would have seemed insane. But Shankly knew what he was doing. He made Liverpool 2nd Division champions in 1962 and earned them 2 top-flight titles in the following 4 seasons. They won 2 more FA Cups and a UEFA Cup during his stay. Where was United during this? During Liverpool's post-war struggles, United had found their feet again, tucking away an FA Cup and 3 league trophies. The club was flying high until a plane crash in 1958 resulted in the death of 8 first-team players. The disaster dealt a massive blow to the club, who proceeded to finish 9th just a season after winning the league. Manager Matt Busby rebuilt the team with some of the best players the Premier League has ever seen. In attack, he had players such as George Best, Bobby Charlton, and Dennis Law, all of whom were Ballon d'Or winners. And further back, players such as Nobby Stiles and Bill Foulkes orchestrated the midfield and defense. This mesmeric period in United's history saw them capture a European Cup, a feat no other English club had done. They also won 2 more league titles. Both clubs underwent major rebuilds, emerging fierce title contenders and even more fierce rivals. In 1958, if you asked a neutral who was the bigger club, they probably would have said Liverpool. The Reds had captured 19 major domestic trophies in 17 years. However, everything changed when Sir Alex Ferguson was named manager of United. The bad blood between the clubs had always existed, but reached a new peak during this period. This was partially due to football hooliganism, as the trademark passion of English fan bases turned barbaric. The Heysel disaster of 1985 saw 39 Juventus fans die during a European Cup final between Liverpool and Juve. At first, UEFA assigned full responsibility for the tragedy to Liverpool supporters, but later extended it to all English clubs, leading to a 5-year ban from European competition. Some United supporters used this event as fuel to taunt Liverpool, which deepened the hatred between the two clubs. Sir Alex Ferguson was well versed in the tension and used it as fuel to make United the most successful team in England. He led Manchester United into the most memorable chapter in the club's history, achieving 21 major domestic honours in 18 years. This period also saw United produce two of the greatest teams of the Premier League era. The first came in 1998, when United became the first English side to win the League, FA Cup, and European Cup treble. This team featured the legendary class of '92, including players like Gary Neville, David Beckham, Paul Scholes, and Ryan Giggs.
Oh, it's Andy Cole. Can he get it over Walker? Cole!
The second came in 2007, when a mere 4 points distinguished United as the Premier League champion. This squad contained the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs. Honestly, the entire starting lineup is worth naming. This team also beat Chelsea in the Champions League final to secure a double for the club.
Ryan Giggs, 6-5, saved by Van der Sar, it's all over.
Sir Alex Ferguson brought United to a league record 20th Premier League title in his final season. This achievement saw United overtake Liverpool as the most successful English football club in history, and it appeared to be a sign that Liverpool's period of dominance was over. However, the last decade has told a different story. Both teams have amassed several trophies, but Liverpool has gotten two of the biggest, the League and the Champions League. Liverpool has only finished outside the top 3 4 times, while Man United has only finished in the top 3 times. And recent meetings have often gone in Liverpool's favor, as they have only lost 2 of their last 10 derbies. The biggest rivalries are felt not only by the fans but the players involved, and often the players who understand them the most deliver the best derby performances. A classic example of this is Steven Gerrard.
Tossed it towards Morientes, and then Gerrard! Oh goodness me!
In his autobiography, the Liverpool man said he had been taught from childhood to loathe Manchester United. On the other side is Wayne Rooney, who scored 7 goals and provided 4 assists against Liverpool. But the Reds despise Rooney for more than just being a United player. Funny enough, Rooney grew up in Liverpool, just on the wrong side. He came up through the Everton Academy as a die-hard Evertonian before joining United.
Fancies his chances.
So to Liverpool fans, he was a big name at both of their arch rivals. After United won the league title that moved them ahead of Liverpool in the record book, Rooney celebrated by shaving 19 into his chest hair. The last player I will mention is the derby's record goalscorer, Mohamed Salah. Unlike Gerrard and Rooney, Salah spent his formative years in Egypt, so he didn't come through the ranks with a passion for the rivalry. But that hasn't stopped him from coming alive in the competition, as he's netted 12 goals against Man United. 2 of those goals came in their most recent meeting at Anfield, which ended in a historic 7-0 win for the Reds. It's fair to say that no one was expecting this result. Liverpool sat 10 points behind third-place Man United, who had just knocked Barcelona out of the Europa League. But Anfield is a difficult venue for any team, especially United. In 2009, Liverpool and United met in a high-scoring match at Old Trafford. The Reds needed the win to keep their title hopes alive. Cristiano Ronaldo scored the opener from the penalty spot, but Fernando Torres quickly scored the equalizer just 5 minutes later, and Gerrard's penalty sent Liverpool into halftime 2-1 up. Things went from bad to worse for United, as Vidic got sent off in the 76th minute. Liverpool capitalized a minute later with a clever free kick by Fabio Arola. Then, in the dying seconds of extra time, substitute Andre De Sena converted an 80-meter ping from his goalkeeper.
Преступление. А вот и Де Сена, 4-1! Де Сена ставит точку.
Those 2 touches completed Liverpool's domination of a strong United team. In 2010, these 2 sides met in another 5-goal thriller, and this game is still considered one of the most memorable Northwest derbies in the past decade. Berbatov scored 2 goals in 17 minutes to give United the lead. Liverpool then said anything you can do we can do faster, as Gerrard converted 2 set pieces in 6 minutes to draw the game level. 84 minutes in, Berbatov scored the game winner, completing both his hat-trick and a pivotal comeback.
O'Shea's ball in. Liverpool! Hat-trick! Incredible game!
With the dominance of these 2 clubs throughout the decades in their shared past, the intensity of the rivalry has never come into question. The real question is, which club is England's biggest? A quick Google search reveals Manchester United as the, quote, undisputed biggest club in England ahead of Manchester City. But then again, that news came from ManUnitedNews.com. Other sources disagree, placing Liverpool just ahead of Man United and Arsenal. There is certainly an argument for both sides. People pro-United would mention they hold a record number of league titles, a fair point. And people who argue in favor of Liverpool would say they hold a record number of European trophies for an English club. Again, a fair point. My combined 11 for these two sides includes 5 players from Liverpool and 6 from United, with a notable absence of Liverpool midfielders. In terms of the rivalry, Manchester United is the winner this season. While Liverpool thrashed United 7-0, they lost their next 3 matches. They also haven't won a trophy and may miss out on European competition next season. United is still the favorite to finish third and can even end the season with 3 trophies.